Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to my comfy couch because I sure am comfy today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for following my page. It has reached 7,000 followers. I have over 2 million insights on a weekly basis, and it has just been growing rapidly for over the past 2 months. My profession that I enjoy doing after getting out of the United States Army is digital media, digital production, anything with digital, social media. I enjoy doing, and it's almost a 24/7 thing for me. And I'll tell you a little bit how I got into that in a later video. That video is going to be a very great discussion piece. I want to leave you all with something that you can discuss with your friends in different groups, some questions. It's gonna leave you thinking. I guarantee you that. I'm an African American, as you can see. I am an African American millennial, and I'm going to be discussing some things about the mindset of today's African American millennial. I don't speak for everyone, but according to my research and just asking others questions and having discussions with other millennial African American women, I speak for enough of us. And some of the rest of us, I would like for us to take on a different mindset. I know there's going to be baby boomers and Generation X listening to this. And you know what? You are so welcome to join in. I think I would love for you all to hear this video because you're a part of it, and we can't do this without you. It's going to take everybody, a lottie-dottie situation. And also with those numbers that I have, if you would like to join me in any discussion, to get your business out there, market yourself, then let's collaborate. Contact me in my inbox, and I'll see if what you have going rolls with my brand or maybe someone else that I may know. You never know who I know. All right, so let's get started. A couple weeks ago, I was invited to a discussion panel here in Washington, D.C., which is where I'm at, city girl. And it was about how black women are being represented in media today and how it affects women in the workforce or just in real life. Well, here's my take on that because I know you all didn't get to hear the whole thing, and I didn't even get to say the whole thing because I didn't want to get put out. But my take on that, women are being represented today equally. Equally. Yeah. And the examples that they had were Olivia Pope from Scandal, played by Kerry Washington, and Viola Davis of Murder, She Wrote. Now, both, I want you all to, if you can, this is one of those videos where you may want to take notes so that you can follow what I'm saying. So both of those shows are written by a black woman. All right, I'm going to get you there. Both of those shows are written by a black woman, casted by, and everything. And I couldn't understand. Well, what was the problem so much with Olivia Pope and Scandal? And the problem was that Olivia Pope is a black female sleeping with the president, a married man who is white. Yep, that was the problem. And I'm looking like, oh, okay. Our minds, and that's why we're going to have this discussion like a family. One of my favorite movies growing up still to this day, and I know a lot of the sayings, is The Color Purple. All right. In The Color Purple, it took off with black actresses and actors, Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, who played Sophia to the fullest, Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Glover, who my mother still doesn't like because he threw rocks at Celie. But we love the movie. Now, in The Color Purple, Whoopi Goldberg as Celie got her behind beat by a black man for over and half an hour. That's an hour's worth of beating, okay? Over, okay? And I also love Tina Turner. What's love got to do with the movie? Growing up, me and my cousins, we used to do all the dance moves in the basement, my grandmother's basement. We knew all the dance moves, all the songs. We had it down packed. And Angela Bassett was a great actress in that movie. She got beat up for over half an hour by a black man. And there were also sex scenes in that. Monsters Ball with Halle Berry. You remember the days where Halle Berry was the top actress, most beloved on Ebony magazines and everywhere. Well, Halle Berry played in Monsters Ball and slept with a white man for 3 minutes, and her career has never been the same. Now, the reason why, and I remember this when I was young, I saw either it was an Essence or an Ebony magazine. If anybody out there knows the specifics, please let me know. Where there was a panel of four black women that had a discussion about her scene and how it was degrading for black women. And that discussion and that article was so huge that her career has never been the same. Poor thing, when she got up to take her award, she thanked other black actresses by name. Do you know one of those actresses she named and thanked because she was so proud of being the first black female to win an Oscar? One of those females was one of the women that was on the panel, tearing her down. That is something that we have to think about when we do it and why we're doing it. All right. Now, we used to have these images back in the day. As a woman, she brought up something called mammy. Okay. Now, the person who brought up the mammy is a baby boomer. And as millennials, what is mammy? We're so far past mammy. We're in the White House right now. So, what is mammy, and are we placing a stigmatism on our young girls when we bring that up? Not just to educate them, but you know, bringing stuff like that up. I'm gonna tell you the definition of mammy. It's an archetype. I have my notes here to go by. Black stereotype female, especially in the South, who worked in white families' homes and cleaned up behind them and basically raised their children. Um, there's a lot of things that baby boomers have been through, have experienced, and have seen that we have not been introduced to based upon the work that they have put in so that we wouldn't have to be. And so, if you're going to put in that work so that I don't have to be introduced to it by outsiders, please don't be the insider to introduce it to me and bam it in my head that that's a possibility for me. Let me go on. You ever see, you ever in the grocery store and the person in front of you has already purchased their products, but they want to stand there for the next 5 to 10 minutes still talking to the cashier? It's like, move on, next in line. You understand? So, millennials, we are next in line. You've purchased, you've paid for it. We're moving on. Okay? That's what we want to do. Um, Now, why The Color Purple didn't get an Emmy, I don't, I think that was just too abrasive. I think that has something to do with race, obviously, because that was a really, really good movie, regardless. But, Hustle and Flow did. That's another story. All right. And so, millennials, when we are taught by or pick up on side conversations, whether it's through television and comedy, um, by or family members that are older, you have to take the meat and throw the bone away. Because if you do not, you're going to pick up that stigmatism and you're going to begin to act like a guest in the House of the United States of America. And you are not a guest. Like I said, your people have bought and purchased. So do not come into any situation, into any room of any group of other people and conduct yourself as if you are a guest. By no means at all. Because I can tell you, um, if we're going to only accept upstanding roles in media, and I've done a lot of work in television and radio, and I'll get to that as well. But if we can only be Felicia Rashad or Whitney from a different world, we're limiting ourselves and our creativity of being an actress and in that profession. And we are going to be guests. And I don't know about you, but I accommodate my guests. I do give them the best, but they have limits as to where they can go in my house because you're a guest. And you eat what I give you. You don't just go walking up to the refrigerator. But if we're going to act like, you know, we belong, act like you belong here, like you live here, then, things will be a little different because the United States is already a dysfunctional family as it is. You don't want to arouse it by, having stigmatized behavior. Okay, so let's go on to the next topic, um, which is something to do with, racism. We have to have our facts together when we approach racism, and I believe that people control media. Media does not control people, and I'll tell you why. Because media cannot move and it cannot have a stable platform, whether in broadcasting or on social media, unless people move it. If you don't move it, it doesn't move because they have to have commercials, it has to make money. So when you're looking at things in media, you still do have to check behind it because some people put out their opinions and a bias rather than sticking to facts. And it's sometimes people want to make a point so badly that they'll actually make up facts. There was a man, actually a Caucasian male, that said racism, and he said that he heard this on Fox. I saw this in the comments, so this is a real live person amongst us. And he says that racist is anyone who discriminates against other people, meaning if you discriminate against racists, then you are a racist. Ball of confusion. Getting ready to confuse a whole lot of people right there because he was in a commentary that had over thousands of people in it. And a lot of those people are going to read that and actually believe it without doing research. Break the words down, all right, with research. What is racism? What is race? Okay, racism is discrimination against a specific ethnic group. Race is a specific ethnic group. So, racism, exactly what we've all said it was in the beginning, not stuff that people are making up along the way. Okay, so that's another thing when it comes to media. Know the difference between real life and characters, what's real and what's fact. And we are each responsible for knowing that. Okay. Media, when people have their facts mixed up in order to be biased, it takes away from those who have a valid argument and are trying to push forth the truth. Because then the collective ethnic group looks like they cry wolf at every single little thing. I'm going to take, for instance, some of you are Donald Trump supporters, some of you are not. If you want to know who Donald Trump supporters are, go to his Facebook page, and where it says who likes this, you'll see a list of your friends that you never know did, and you can do that also with President Obama or anybody. But that will tell you who is who. You're going to be shocked. Don't be mad, but you must see the truth. Anyway, I remember when he called Hillary Clinton a nasty. She's a nasty woman. And the female equal rights groups, I mean, they just ran with it. I'm a nasty woman, this and that. There was so many other things that he had done that were ill-fitting, but he had called one of the male candidates a nasty man. So when we pick things that kind of apply to all instead of that real segregation, that real racist or that real sexist moment, it takes away from it all because then they say, look at them, they'll just pick anything and run. And they'll be right. So we want to make sure that we've done our research. And Marilyn Vos Savant, she had one of the highest IQs, one of the smartest women in the world. And this is what she stated that has always stuck for me. She says, be able to analyze statistics, which can be used to support or undercut almost any argument. So when you're looking to state your case about racism or sexism and things like that, make sure you are well researched on both sides of the table. Okay, you have to know what your opponent can come back to you with, like playing chess. You have to be able to know both sides of the table's moves, or else you're going to be unprepared. All right, and that's a lot of what happens in the black community when we are trying to state a case, uh, and we go upon impulse and emotion, and you're trying to state a case to people who are not you, don't look like you, haven't been through what you've been through, so they have no emotional connection. See, when we talk about communication, communication is key. That's what we say when we're getting married, but it applies to everything. And communication is not just about what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And the motive is for the other person to understand it, not just for you to get out what you're thinking, but for them to for it to be receptible. Okay? Because when you put it in a way that is received and is plain and clear, then you put that other person up against the wall. They either have to acknowledge you or lose the game. That is chess, and that is how um, we have to address things that are very emotional and upsetting in our black community, not by presenting emotion, but pure, pure facts. Okay, pure facts. Stick to those, and also know both sides. That way, either somebody has to make a move, or they're gonna have to get out of the game. All right. So going on to the next thing. And that's about leaving no mistakes on the table. Separating the care in media, separating the character from the man. And please do that. If you can do that with a Marvel movie, if you know the Wolverine isn't, you know, a real person, please be able to do that with other characters. Unfortunately, we had a situation with Bill Cosby, who was a main character on the Cosby Show. And that's just somebody that kind of emerged their brand and their name together, because on the show, if anybody noticed, his name was Cliff Huxtable, but it was called The Cosby Show. And so a lot of people mixed up his character with him. I don't know if his plan was intentionally that, or maybe it was just a branding thing, but we cannot mix people's character up with, or, their talent with their character. Two totally separate things, and we have to be responsible for it. Like I said, we don't want to leave any mistakes on the table when we're doing comparisons of today. Today we have violence still in the black community with young African American men. When these things happen, sometimes it is compared to Emmett Till. Emmett Till was a young boy who was brutally murdered innocently. He was not robbing the local liquor store. He wasn't a gangbanger. He wasn't on drugs. There was no paraphernalia on him as he was caught or running from the law. He wasn't abusing women, you know. So we have to be careful how we compare some things that happen to people today to back then, and how we carry it out. It doesn't mean that, even though some people, there are black men that are being arrested that are uh, put in jail rightfully, but they may be staying in there wrongfully. But if your argument is that it's because he's black, why are they giving Barney 3 years, but they're giving this black man 20 years? Okay. Coming at it like that is not going to get you anywhere. You have to come with the facts. And the fact is, there is a law about how much time a person is supposed to have. Some things are just, you're not supposed to do that. And you have to find that, research it out. I totally forgot what it was, but if one of you knows, like, there's an actual legal term for unfit. The time has to fit the crime. That's the angle you take. Not, I wouldn't even bring up that he's black. We already know that. But let's address it as this. The time doesn't fit the crime. Now I'm going to back you into the wall So you're going to have to do things the legal way, or you're just going to have to show that you're messy. And then we can take it from there. But the initial, try to stay away from using race initially. All right. Okay. And so the reason why um, a lot of people or women, black women, do not bring up things like that, like the situation with Halle Berry and kind of equal things, are because you can be ostracized for it. As you obviously you can be ostracized for that. Zora O'Neal Hurston was ostracized for that and died penniless. She made a great impact, had great friends, Duke Ellington, and all of that. But I'm going to read to you something that she said that got her kicked out of the Black Club. She said, "I do not belong to the sobbing school of Negrohood, who hold that who hold that nature somehow has given them a low down, dirty deal. No, I do not weep at the world. I am too busy sharpening oyster my oyster knife. I'm sorry. In other words, the world is her oyster, and she is going to feast on it. Slavery happened 60 years ago, and if it was the price of civilization, she says, so be it. She's over it." So she's moved on in line. But sometimes our people romance it so hard, and if you are not doing that with them, then you are an outsider. I've gone to the store here in Washington, D.C., and it's very segregated here. But I've been a part of diverse groups for over a decade, so I haven't been in a live situation of separation like that for so long, so I'm not used to it anymore. And I went to the store and I saw a couple. They were looking at a costume, and a man came out, and I just thought it was funny. But we started just conversating about it. But they were a white couple, and uh, I looked over my shoulder, and a black lady stopped her cart and looked at me like, "What you know?" I'm talking to them. You know what I mean? You're just they want be over here with us, not over here with them type of thing. And millennials, we don't want that type of tug of war going on. We have to stop that, and we have to take responsibility of that and understand where they're coming from. We understand you. We understand you had a past experiences and everything like that, but we can't carry the tiki torch, okay? Because that's just as bad as the Caucasian group of the KKK meeting up and teaching each other and training each other. That this isn't just millennials who are black, millennials who are white as well, because you have them in your family. I don't know if your grandfather was, the grand wizard of the KKK with the red robe on, and he may have taught you how to ride your bike for the first time, helped you get through school, gave you a lot of other values of wisdom that made you a great person. However, those racist things, when grandfather goes into the ground, you need to pack his little red robe up and put it down in there with him and stop that. We have to stop that. We have to take initiative to stop that. They couldn't stop it. They were still in it. Things were still fresh, but we have to take the initiative to stop that and correct them along the way. I don't expect a 70-year-old or Caucasian man or African American man to just have a full blown change of heart. And I'm not trying to convince them to, because they've already lived their life. They have more years behind them than ahead of them. And they're going to go off of what they know in the end. But as for us, we have more years ahead of us than behind us. And we don't want to take that on with us. Just let it go, you know. And I don't even look down on some people for being like that in my community or others. I just, you know, put a check next to their name and you have to move on. You don't have to take that. The fear of being cast out, millennials, should you kind of speak up something like this and bring forth, there is a fear of that because we fear that our elders will shun us, will look at us differently, like we are science projects, which they already do because we're millennials and we are in a strong digital age anyway. But millennials are a group of people that learned from technology. They learned, baby boomers and Generation X, they learned on chalkboards and writing and stuff like that. We learned on IBM computers. A is for Apple, B is for ball. That's how we always learned and interpreted information anyway. And at that time, our parents were working so hard and they were saying, I'm doing this for my kids so the next generation can have better. Well, now we're here and we're grown and we have better. So, we don't need to be knocked for our different way when everyone paid taxes and invested in the products of technology that are so advanced today that we learned from then. Okay, the crabs in the barrel mentality comes from slavery. It really just does because, I know other races went through as well, but our slavery with the black community was a very long time, and that means generations and generations and generations to the point where we don't know our own language anymore, and it's difficult for us to help one another when those of us who do wake up and kind of the alarm goes off. It's harder for us to go back and help other people and bring them that look like us and bring them into the new because they are still holding on because of how long it's been. Now, other races have been through slavery as well, but not to that uh, level of, that maximum amount of years. So when they were free and they got back together, they still had the same language. Everybody had the same tradition, mindset to pull together and go forward. We were scattered. And so some of us don't want to go forward. We want to hang on to that old way. And we want to keep reliving and reiterating it and passing it down rather than moving forward. Some are just stuck, arrested. The development of some has been arrested and will even hurt one another that try to move on. Like crabs in the barrel. A crab that is in the barrel, a crab that's trying to get out of the barrel is always pulled down by the ones that are still in there boiling. One of the videos that I liked that I thought was so funny was these crabs that were being boiled, and one of the crabs actually hopped out and cut the stove off. So if we can get to that mindset where, because the reason why we hop out into, we hop out as individuals, but maybe if we can have a mind, let's get out and cut the stove off, okay, so that none of us are still in here boiling. That would be a creative effect, I think. Media and how the black woman is represented, how it affects her in the workplace. First of all, when we say we train people how to teach us, do that at all times. It applies at everything. I do not care what you think about black females. When you see me, when I come into your presence and I walk up on you and we begin to communicate, that will be the new. Okay? I'm going to redirect your mind and reroute it. And I'm not going to come like a guest. Okay? And I'm also going to be pleasant and receptive. So I don't know if you have only known Shanae's on television as the representation of black women, but when you see Priscilla Mack, you will learn. As the comedian says, you're going to learn today. And that's how you have to carry yourself. Also, when you have that stigmatism, this is what happens. Hold on. I'm sorry. Sliding off the couch. This is what happens. Baby boomers, Generation X, when you put that stigmatism in young black females or, the younger black generation, nobody else is crazy and they can smell it on you, the racism. It makes other people feel uncomfortable, and other people can't wait to get rid of somebody like that. You can raise a young girl to go to Harvard University, Stanford, or in an Ivy League school, Howard University. She goes to a job and she has an attitude, but she's great. She's the best of the best. The job has hired her. They need her. She has also learned how to make sure that she has a stamp in there and that she is non-disposable. All right? So she's working it. And every now and then, she lets them know that she's black, and that they don't understand, black people, and she's the one that should be doing this because she's black. She has an attitude. She also talks about the management with other coworkers. Now, at the time, people can't do anything with her because they're the best that she has, right? Now, this is what happens. Another black girl comes in, positive attitude, less education than her, and they are going to want that girl to stay rather than the one with the aggressive attitude, nasty attitude, actually. I've worked in a place like that before where I went there and it was a young lady that was there for over a year prior to me. I had only been there for about 2 months, but I usually ate by myself. I eat by myself in work areas because I notice other coworkers. Management takes notice of other coworkers that sit around and gossips about management. It doesn't. It's not a good look for starters. And using yourself as the black token male or female of the company makes other people uncomfortable. All right. So um, they actually called me into the office, and our job was based upon numbers at the time, and they said your numbers are actually kind of close to hers. We want you to beat her because she was going for a promotion that she well deserved by her work, but her attitude. They did not want to call headquarters and tell them about this girl. After all the hard work that she had put in, here comes somebody for 2 months and they want to replace her quickly. And she and I, it's a long story with that. We became friends, and I had to sit her down and talk to her about that because I wasn't staying there. I was actually there. This was customer service, and we were on the phones all day. And I was there practicing my voice. How I answered the phone was how I thought myself to one day be speaking out in public speaking, or either on the radio or on television. And so that was my personal goal there. But her, she was really trying to make something of the situation long term. And I had to tell her, listen, this is what's going on. I'm not going to be here for long. But even they're giving me your spot. And even when I leave, they're going to give it to somebody else if you don't get your attitude together. And she just couldn't. The next day, she, came in with a mini afro in her hair and stood up in the middle of the place and said, oh, it must be because I'm black. Stuff like that. Um, Stigmatized, poor thing. So they're going to give your spot to somebody else, and they're going to help that person. They can't wait for you to go when you have a when you have a stigmatism. And when I say they, a lot of people may think I'm talking about white people, but these people were from Singapore. So no, this is on a national scale. When you have a nasty attitude, folks they can't wait for somebody to come in and replace you. They're just putting up with you meantime. But what causes that is what I'm trying to say. Those things that come out. That is not even the first time. I've had a lot of times in my career, and it's been a lot of my career has been very. I don't want to say very easy, but I'm able to move a whole lot different because I don't have that. And when I come around, it's like, okay, now we can work together. You know, no guest is in the house. It's like everybody can take their shoes off and relax, and we can actually work because I'm not in there acting like a guest. Okay, like you need to, accommodate me in this sort of way because I'm African American, or uh, I'm not certain, you know, where I fit in because I'm African American, or how I'm going to, come like you belong there. Okay, millennials. I want to say that I love you so much. And I want you all to be encouraged. I definitely enjoy. I have worked thoroughly over my career with baby boomers, and when we come together, we are able to do something very powerful and amazing when we come on board. And when technology is no longer the boogeyman, because it is not. Okay, social media. You can control your social media, and what you see on it is it's a Facebook is your face. It's a reflection of you and what you're always looking at. It's your mirror that you first see. So if you get up in the morning and you see people fighting, cussing, arguing on your timeline, talking about craziness, that's a reflection of who you know and who you're in cahoots with. How do you even know those people? Because your Facebook wall doesn't look like my wall. Mine doesn't look like yours either. So when you get rid of those people and you start to embrace people who are on another level or the level that you aspire to be on, your Facebook will shift and begin to change. Where we what happens is that is a little sad is that when we purposely keep those people who are living a less than life as examples of what you're not. And so now you're the one that's upscale and telling everybody, you can tell everybody else to do it and look down on them because they're all crazy. But if you get with people on your level or above you, you can't come like that. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, I do see some people, the posts that they make, the statements that they insinuate tell me that it's not really that they're trying to help people. It's that they want to exude their intelligence over others and just kind of keep people on a string coming back and back to them for content that they're not really helping. Because if you're not presenting a solution, then you're not helping. It's almost like those women's groups that are always about having a low self-esteem. If this group is going to be open for years and we're still talking about having a low self-esteem, no, the leader is not moving us forward. We should be on the next step. All right, we've already purchased that product. What's next? Move on. The next thing, it should be, we should be growing. We should be on to challenging our goals by now. The self-esteem, that was like months ago. We're not about to cry about the same thing for the next 5 months. I don't need all of these articles about body images and feeling bad about. No, we talked about that. Now we're moving on. And that's what I would like for this message to be for millennials, to move on and move on with grace and style, and to know that, you have what it takes. The African American community, hands down, very creative, wealth-minded people. So take that in stride. Okay, I don't know how to keep saying this over and over again. Don't let anybody put in your head that you are less than, that you have to peek over your shoulder at everything. When shootings were breaking out, I heard a black female say that, she was scared for her life. And this was a wealthy black woman, that she was scared to drive down the street because she may get shot as a young man did in the street. That doesn't apply to you. Nobody is going to shoot you down because you didn't just rob the liquor store. That is maybe a total different situation. And when we over exaggerate, once again, we take away from the reality and the ability for those who are in position trying to work in our favor to actually execute. Because behind the scenes, they are being ridiculed, overlooked, and told that, crying wolf. So you got to get it right. And let me tell you what's important about getting it right. Let's use social media as an example. If somebody got on social media right now and threatened you and put out the wrong address, say your name is Janice, I want somebody to go get Janice at address 450 Pennsylvania Avenue. You don't even live there. You know what you're going to do? You're not going to say nothing because they got it wrong. Why would you need to address that? Good. Great, they got it wrong. You don't want to startle them. You don't want to wake them up and tell them where you really live at. Now, if they actually get your address and your location right, now it's a problem. Like I said in chess, either you're going to have to do something or you're going to have to make a move. And that's the same mentality we have to carry when we're trying to put our information out there for our people. Get it right. And that way, either your opponent has to do something or make a move. All right? That's all I got for today. This is a very long video. But, share it with your friends. I love you all once again. 7,000. We are at 7,000 on the social media page, and it's growing rapidly. I'm talking about hundreds per week. Hundreds, about 500 per week. My insights are blowing up. And I definitely want to hear from you all, work with you all, other authors that are out there. If you have talent, a business, let me know. Put it in my inbox. And like I said before, I cannot wait to connect with you. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I am Priscilla Mack, and I am an African American millennial. Okay? All right. Bye bye.